welcome. Chapter 16, Binomial Probability, Day 2. Okay, so for Day 2, the first thing I want you to do is don't look at this here and go ahead and do this pop quiz. Don't look and then just take it and then boom, done. Okay. If you took the pop quiz, obviously there was no questions, so it was just by luck if you got it. But the first thing I want you to do is I want you to notice that it is binomial. And I'm going to use my acronym SPIT. Now, remember what I told you is that SPIT means nothing to statistics. It's just a silly acronym that I made up because I want you to remember that it's going with the binomial. Okay, so SPIT stands for success failure. The S stands for success failure, which is it? Yes, I could get it right or wrong. Probability is the same, which is 25% each time. Independent, each one, it doesn't matter if I get one correct, it doesn't, or wrong, it doesn't have any bearing on the next one. And then finally, the trials with a set number, which is n equals 5. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the next one here. We bubbled in the quiz, and then you can put how many you got correct. So I just answered number 2, that X is the number of correct guesses. This is a binomial setting, and explain. I just answered it. Okay, calculate the probability of getting exactly 2 correct. So remember, we're going to use our formula, and the formula is going to be n choose k, probability of success to the k, probability of failure to the n, or minus k, excuse me. So I have n choose k, so I have 5. N is my, n is going to be the number of success, or the number of trials. And remember, k is the number of successes. P is the probability of success, and 1 minus p, of course, is the probability of failure. So let's look at this one. 5 choose 2, remember I told you I do this. This publisher does 5 choose 2, but it's the same thing. 5 choose 2 times 0.25 to the second times 0.75 to the third. So if we put that in my calculator, I could do my NCR and go menu probability. Oh, sorry. Which is NCR 5, comma 2. So you can see that's going to get you 10. So this is equal to 10. Times 0.25 squared times 0.75 to the third, and you get 0.264. I also showed you how to use that on the binomial calculator, so let's check out the binomial calculator. If we did it on the binomial calculator, we would get back to menu, statistics, go to distribution menu, and go to binomial PDF. All right, remember I have how many trials? 5. I had 2 successes, and remember the probability of success is 0.25. And that, says I messed up on something. Let me go back to it and see what I did wrong. Binomial PDF. Oh, I know what I did. I said 2 successes. I meant probability of success is 0.25. I wrote them in the wrong one, and then that's going to be 2. Okay, there we go. That's much better. So 0.2636, and of course, that's the same thing that we got. And that's what shows it here. So this one says fill in the table of the probability of getting exactly correct. The best and easiest way to do this is to go back to your calculator and go to binomial PDF, fill in 5, fill in 0.25, and leave the next one blank, and it fills in, and it gets it all for you. Probability of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that's exactly what I got. Now interpret what's the mean. So you guys know how to do the mean. We did the mean where we do this one times this one, plus this one times this one, plus this one, and so forth and so on, right? So you can do that and you can get 1.25. But if you think about it, if I had 5 problems and I have a 25% each time success rate, then what's 5 times 1.25? That is also 1.25. So what I'm supposed to see here is if the probability is the same for every single time, you can just multiply your number of successes times the probability of success, and you're going to get your average, your mean, your expected value. The standard deviation you can do is you can do the standard deviation the way I taught you how to do it, the long way. But then if you do the standard deviation and you notice that it's actually going to get you out to be what's called NP1 minus P. That's going to be a lot shorter. only when it is a binomial situation, because in a binomial situation, remember what's happening? Every single probability is the same each time. The reason I can't do this with the other ones that we did, remember our probabilities changed per trial. So if you solved out this 7 and 8, probability is at most 3 correct. This is how you solve it. And then more than 3, the same thing. You can go ahead and put these into your binomial calculator. If I put this in the calculator, let me show you how it would work. This says number 7, the probability of getting at most 3 correct would be 3 or less. So I would bring the calculator to the binomial calculator, to binomial at most 3. So that's CDF. So I have 5 trials. The probability of success is 0.25. At most 3 means between 0 and 3. And there's 0.984. Now, the way you would show for work, remember, is to go ahead and make sure you have it out where I would, let me just remind you how to do work on this one, is that I would say, okay, this is 5 choose 0, 0.25 to the 0, 0.75 to the 5, plus ... plus 5 choose 3, 0.25 to the 3, 0.75 to the 2, and then I would have that's equal to the answer that we were wanting it to get equal to, which was less than or equal to 3, which we got out as 98%. Then that's what we got as well. 3 or more correct would be the same thing that I just showed you, except back in here in my binomial calculator, the binomial is going to be 5 trials, probability of success 0.25. It says it's got to have at least 3 correct, which is 3 to 5, and then that's going to be okay, and that gives me my answer of 10.4%. Again, make sure you show your work, and that would be this: 5 choose 3, 0.25 to the 3, 0.75 to the 2, plus 5 choose 5, 0.25 to the 5, 0.75 to the 0. Remember how we did it in the last lesson. If you can't remember how the lesson, go ahead and go review it. This one, this one here is how many ways. This one here is the probability of success, and this one here is probability of failure. Okay? The notes today to remember, of course, I want you to see with binomial distribution, if we did the binomial distribution, you're going to see that the center, the mean that we just saw, this is the big thing to see with binomial, that the mean is equal to NP, and the standard deviation is equal to square root of NP 1 minus P. And you'll see that right here in these notes to the right. And the other thing to make sure that you understand and take these is just the interpretation of mean and the interpretation of standard deviation. Okay, the last step is to go ahead and make sure here I'll give you the answers here, that you go ahead and find the answers here, and this, remember, is still spit, which is success failure. They're the same thing. And it's giving to you as bins. All right, thank you very much. If you have any other questions, please let me know.